Welcome to the round table. I am Jennifer Eller, and with me today is my co-host Mike Hill, our producer Nick Wilson, who has a microphone today but no camera, so he can talk to us.
Well,
so say
how
hi.
did we digress?
I don't know.
What is the digression? Like,
I got behind,
okay.
but they can hear me.
Okay, so you'll have it for the second podcast today?
Yes, sir.
There you go. And then we have Luke Bates with us today, and this is his cute dog, Norman.
Yeah.
Do you
Hi,
think
Norman.
he's a cute dog?
I think he's cute. I think he's stupid.
Oh, he's adorable.
Okay.
You are adorable.
Is he a pandemic dog?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he like freaks out over everything.
But did you
Has
get him
some.
during the pandemic?
Corinne, yes. Yeah. He's gonna be 4.
Okay.
4/20 is his birthday.
Nice.
We need to dope him up, is what that's saying, because he
Do
has
you know
some
your
problems.
dog's birthdays?
Well, Sugars, we got her on September 5th of 2020. So, but she was a year old. So we, about that
So you
time.
just give her a birthday?
We just, yeah. And Emma celebrates and gets her presents and all that stuff. Whatever.
I don't know about that.
Do you give your dog presents?
No.
Does Corinne?
No. Her mom does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Craziness.
Yes.
Okay. So talking to Corinne yesterday, you guys are going somewhere in a couple weeks. Where are you
Yeah.
going, Luke?
Yeah.
You're going on a honeymoon?
No, it's better than that. Listen.
Better than a honeymoon?
Listen.
Better than a honeymoon.
Where are you going?
Tinley Park in Chicago. Tinley Park has the largest reptile show in the country.
In the country?
Yeah. There's another one. There's a reptile super show in California, but it's pretty much on par with that.
Wow.
So,
Are you going to look or sell?
look.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you going to buy anything?
No.
Why?
It's always been like a desire of mine to go to the largest reptile show. And then there's a surprise in there for Corinne, but whatever.
Corinne?
Oh, and she doesn't know?
She doesn't know. Maybe she does. She takes care of all the finance stuff. Because
Okay, well,
I
don't-
would just
just-
lose
just-
track.
just stop
so if
talking.
she searched for it, she would know.
Just
what
stop
it is.
talking because
Don't search Corinne. Don't ruin the surprise.
She was mad
Good
at me
for
at
you
one
for
point.
doing Did you make this as a whole surprise thing?
Did I?
Like the whole thing, like the going
Oh,
to the reptile show?
So
and-
they'll go into the reptile show. I text Corinne and was like, hey, I'm going to ask off for these days. Would you want to go with me? And it was more like I'm going to go whether you go with me or not. So, yeah. Or was it, I have this weekend off. You want to go? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I was going to go regardless. And then once
And so
she
you don't
decided,
mind looking without buying?
No. It's a lot of fun. You see interesting people, and you talk to a lot of cool people. A lot of like YouTubers that are related to the reptile keeping community, like, are going to be there.
Meaning when you're like the guy that doesn't make money off YouTube.
He'll make money off YouTube. An easy one that I referred your son to is Clint's Reptiles.
Okay.
He's a biologist and just makes like top five videos and phylogeny videos and
Things that you can learn. Like, is
Yeah.
that the purpose?
Oh, yeah,
like you
for
go
sure.
on there to learn about reptiles?
yeah.
Wow. Okay. I would just said talk to Luke. He's the expert.
Nah, not even close.
Huh?
Not even close.
Well,
But still fun
you know a lot.
enough. Yeah.
Yeah, enough for Isaac, for crying out loud. What does he need to know?
Put the snake in the tub and make sure that
What?
what do you put him in the tub?
in like a sterilite bin. You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm
like a
sorry.
storage bin.
I thought if you told my son to put the snake in a bathtub.
You can. So like if they're stuck shed, you put the snake in the tub with like a little bit of water so that it's like halfway up its body. And then you close the curtain and it gets humid and allows them to shed if it's stuck. Yeah.
Ugh,
Fun stuff.
disgusting. Okay.
Okay, you like to work out to champs, right?
Yeah. Work out at Champs. Basically every day. I've offered to have people work out with me over the years and they just don't. Nick was one of the first people I wanted to work out with. He worked out with me for maybe like 3 weeks and then you were done.
What
forever.
happened? Are you like are you a slave driver?
I mean, I don't know. Have you seen Nick's belly?
What does that mean?
So
It means-
is that
it means,
like
like,
how
come
you
on.
motivate? Is you motivate like Nick, take your shirt off and look at yourself, right?
Would it be motivating?
Yeah, he would poke me. Be like, "That's all you got?" Like poke the tummy.
Well, like, come on. You want to make progress, you sort of have to push yourself. I'm not the nicest in the gym. Corinne's had worked out with me. In the first like 12 times she worked out with me, I made her cry.
You made your wife cry?
She wasn't my wife at the time.
Okay. Okay. So you made the woman that you love cry?
What? How far into our relationship was that? Would we have said love yet?
Yeah, it was like.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Made the woman I love cry. Yeah.
No, I mean, is that like your workout philosophy is that you have to push somebody till they cry? Not like cry, but like beyond
No,
themselves?
like it
I
is.
didn't cry, by the way.
Nick didn't cry.
I didn't cry.
Corinne cried because she felt like, I don't know. Would you say your burden?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of her big words is burden. So whenever she feels like a burden or a disappointment, then it's just like it all falls apart. It doesn't matter what I say. I could in the nicest tone possible say, "Hey, honey, your form at this point is not the greatest. Like we could change this, this, and this." And I don't know what's going through her head. It's probably he hates me. He thinks I'm like incompetent, incapable. Yeah.
So you think that if you say just one word, your form is bad, then your wife is thinking, you hate me?
Ask her.
Gotten better. Gotten better.
She has gotten better, so I can critique her now, and like she accepts it. And
So do you think that
Moves
that's
on.
a problem with a lot of people, like that you've worked with, that it's that they don't take critique well?
Yeah, probably the people that I do get along with the most, like take the criticisms and actually put them into use. So your son, awesome. The most improvement I've
my
seen
gosh,
is
that's
between
crazy.
him and Rin.
Red?
Rin.
Yeah.
Rain
Yeah.
Grove.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's nuts.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
You would never guess it, but like the kid has an engine in him that does not stop, and he has a mindset that regardless of what happens, he's going to continue to do it. So like he can make a complete fool of himself. He'll be fine with me sharing. But we have foundations, and this was like last year, whenever foundations. It's,
We'll talk about foundations. Nobody knows what that is.
Foundations is a group on Wednesday that Ethan, Troy, and myself, and now Trevor put on. We just want to build community in the gym because that's how I build community. That's how I became friends with Ethan. That's how I became friends with your son. That seems to be like how I become friends with people, at least now at this point.
Yeah.
So Ren, he wore sweatpants, not tieable sweatpants, and we did plyo boxes. And he jumped up on a box, and he stumbled, and he fell, and then like his pants fell down, and he didn't even like bat an eye. He like stood up, pulled him up, and he's like, shouldn't wear sweatpants. And then he started doing it again. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't even like a thought in his mind to be, maybe it was to be embarrassed or to sort of like retreat from that, but he didn't do it. So super impressed by him. Trevor, super impressed. He, the most growth I've seen in someone in such a short amount of time. And you could probably say the same thing too. Yeah.
So that whole community part of it. So is Foundations set up just to do community, or community that's going to lead to something? Like what's the thought process behind?
So
Foundations?
we're working out, like there are workouts,
Sure.
and like in the midst of those workouts, like build community, and if that's like progressing towards a particular goal, Adam, last name, Corinne, Valancourt, he brings his two boys too, but his goal is to, I think it was like drop 40 pounds. And like, obviously that's in health, so that he can have a longer life, a more impactful life for his boys, his family.
Are these all goals that people share beforehand? Like, do you guys sit around
I
and
asked
say,
for
hey,
them, but that doesn't mean that they come out. It's just like,
did Trevor
I
have
would
a goal?
want to, a specific goal.
No, I'm just curious. Like, I'm, in that whole process, I wondered what everybody's goals were.
The
'Cause it is
only
different,
the one that I heard like a somewhat, it's not even a specific goal, but he wanted to get in shape. Adam wanted to get in shape. I don't know what that means. Like, that's not, like, I would say like a SMART goal would be
Right.
like what you need. So it needs to be measurable. It needs to be specific, attainable, whatever the rest of those words are, Corinne. But like, it needs to be something that you can like write down and like grow towards and achieve.
Right.
Because otherwise, what are you actually going towards? What progress is being made?
Right.
Is it yeah, you're either moving towards the point or you're moving away, and if you don't have a point, like,
Yeah, that's why I was wondering,
going away.
is the idea of foundations to build into a deeper community, like mentoring relationships? Is it?
if it comes to that, sure.
I mean, do
It's
you want
just
it to? Like, what's your goal?
like my goal, like, I offer to work out with every single person that comes in.
Right.
Like, it's on Wednesdays, but we had talked to Ray Ann to allow them to come in Monday through Friday for like a set amount of time, because they were in the foundations group.
So for you, when you're setting your goals, so like, hey, I want to do this foundation. These are my goals. So are your goals just in the gym, or your goals go outside of the gym to walk along a guy like Trevor, or to walk along a guy like Red, to help him
It would be
in
that
life in
would
general?
be the goal.
Okay.
But I can't like force that on people. Like, I've offered to get lunch or breakfast or dinner with Trevor, and yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean force. I was just curious
No,
if
no,
you
and,
wanted
like,
to see
sure.
things outside
Sure.
of that from hey, this is going to help you get healthy, but I can also help you in other
Yeah.
areas of life. Like, what do you think, other than fitness, what are some of the things that you can offer young men? Like,
Oh,
what are
like,
some
I-
attribute stuff? Or if you had a goal, if you were going to mentor somebody outside of the gym, because that's like your first initial, hey, I can build a relationship because I can offer them fitness. But then if you could mentor them, number one, what would you see most young men need mentored in? And what do you think you have to offer?
What they need mentored in?
Yeah, what do you think most-
Direction.
Direction. So describe that, meaning,
So like, you need to be able to pick a point.
okay?
And move towards it. So whether that's your goal in the gym, you need to move towards it. Whether that's you get up and you make your bed, you need to move towards it. You need to do something. There's aimlessness. Nobody wants rules. Nobody wants like restrictions or boundaries anymore, but that's what humans need the most. I'm not against going outside of the box, but like, most people do need a box
Okay?
to be put in.
Right.
Because if you don't have those rules, the regulations, you're aimless. And
So kind of like a time management kind of thing. Like this
Oh, and
is
I
this
am-
is how we're gonna do our day, and so we can get these things accomplished,
I would
and we show up on work.
love to say that I could do that, but like, I cannot. I would much rather like build into things that I see as beneficial. So like the gym. So if my body's not healthy, my mind's not healthy, my spiritual life isn't healthy.
Okay?
Like, they all work together, and if one is not working, everything falls apart. And you're in the gym, you're watching people like put a little bit on the line. Like, you're gonna do some exercises that make you look like
Pansy?
an ass.
An ass?
An ass. Like,
Like bad? Like you're going to look terrible?
yeah, you're gonna look stupid.
Make sure I'm not working out while you are.
Well, go in there. Go in
This
there.
little worry now that you're gonna be
Go in
judging
there
me.
and do some hip thrusts, and I will make fun of you.
Why would you want to make fun of me? That's no fun.
Because don't do hip thrusts.
I don't even
I don't know that either.
You have a bar.
Okay.
Sitting on your hips.
Okay.
And your back is on a bench.
Okay.
And your legs are like 90 degrees, and it's a hip thrust.
Okay.
You are practicing for future sex with your wife.
Oh my gosh.
Really? That's all they're for?
It's
just so your sexual life is better?
No, that's a joke. Girls go in there because they think it'll make their butts get big and full.
Because that's
whatever.
what girls want is big butts.
I guess.
Okay.
I guess.
I mean, I need a butt.
I mean,
So if I do hip thrusters, will I get a butt?
there are better ways to get a butt than do hip thrusts.
Like different genetics?
Probably different genetics, but different
I just think some
exercises.
people have flat butts. Like, can you fix that problem?
I mean, you can build muscle.
Judas, have you seen this thing?
I mean,
Have you ever looked at my butt?
I don't go around like.
Yes,
I
you
think
do.
we need to go to the next
But-
question here.
Okay.
I think this
I'm
is,
just
we're done
saying.
with the gym.
Oh, no. Well, let me finish with this question.
Okay.
So, because this is some of what we talked about, because I think this is where I was going to try to bring it back to. So
Okay.
the idea is you're using what God made you. So that's what I was trying to get
Sure.
up on.
Yeah.
Like, so you think the greatest gift that you can give isn't some of this outside stuff, it's stuff in the gym. So that's how you're going to allow God to use you to
Yeah.
help mentor young people.
Yeah, and like that's how I grew up. Like my dad was instructing my brother and sister and I in the gym.
Okay.
And like the people, again, it sounds weird, but like some of the coolest people meet in the gym. Some of probably the worst people you meet in the gym.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just think that's that's what I wanted to try to get to is you've identified the uniqueness that you have to be able to pour into people is best used through fitness.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because you don't want to give them time management.
because I don't have time. Like, what? How can I give it to him if I don't have it?
That was my point, which
Yeah.
is completely okay.
Yeah, yeah,
my
yeah.
point was you do have something and you're using it.
Yeah, yeah. And then it opens the door. So like relationship struggles. Like I've dated a couple girls. I'm married. Like I have some information to give in those regards. And like men nowadays, I feel really bad. I work in the lab. We do some of the testing that makes relationships a little sketchy. So I see all these positive
Like
results.
STD like
Yep,
tests?
yep.
Okay,
I see
there we
all
go.
these positive results, and I'm just like, oh, this is
Ooh.
ooh, indeed,
Wow.
ooh, indeed. I review the results every month for HSV1, HSV2, so herpes simplex virus 1 and 2, so oral and genital herpes, and the amount of positives, like,
Okay.
Glad
Yeah.
those days are done.
yeah, right? It's crazy. It's
You don't have to worry about
Oh
those
my
things.
gosh.
crazy.
Yeah, so talk about the way that so just use the gym for an example. So this whole idea of how to help move a person from where they are to where they need to be, right? So you're going to use the gym example. So how do you best, because this could happen in any area, whether it's you're doing it through the gym or you're doing it in a mentoring relationship in life, in your opinion, what's the best methodology to move somebody from where they are currently to the place that they want to be? What's the best methodology to get them there? Is it because there's lots of types of motivation? You know what I mean?
I only have one kind of motivation.
Okay.
And maybe I've gotten better. Have I gotten better?
I don't know what you're gonna say.
Most of the time, it's like, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong.
Okay. So you would say that people respond best to being criticized to get better.
No.
Okay.
That's
so
just,
what? How
that's
have you
just,
seen that?
That's the way that, like, I don't know how to tiptoe around. I'm not the best at being nice. So if you can handle it, you can handle it. If you can't, you can't.
Okay.
I mean, and if you can handle it, like that just makes my expectations for you go up. If you can't, I will probably continue to pester you, but I'm not going to drag someone around kicking and screaming.
Right. You'll just leave him.
Yeah.
Like he left you, Nick, right?
Don't take this as bad.
I won't
Like,
leave
I'm not,
them.
this isn't a
They'll roll
criticism.
away. They'll roll away.
They'll roll away.
They'll roll away.
Fat, they just roll away.
Yeah,
isn't
Violet from Willy Wonka.
Who?
Violet from Willy Wonka. You know how she blew up like a blueberry?
Yeah, this isn't a criticism of you. This is more of a, because all of our jobs, right?
Yeah,
all of our
they're
jobs
different.
is to identify where people are and help them move on their journey, whether it's spiritual, whether it's physical, whether it's mental, it's all of those things. And so I just wanted to hear from your experience because I do think that that's interesting to know how people go about it, right? And part of it is that because, like, for you, that's the way you were. Like, the best way to motivate you is to criticize you?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I've done the DECA how many times? 4 times.
Okay.
A mile 1 year, and then I did a strong and a mile at the same time, and then I did the fit because I wanted the little trifecta medal. And there's a guy named Dakota that's there, and he has this Batman shirt or Batman like little headband, and Ricardo just lays into him, yelling, screaming, and like I sit there and I'm like, wow, that would be nice.
That would be nice if somebody yelled at you.
Oh my! And it has to be from someone that like has a little bit of like my
like,
respect.
hey, you pansy, row harder,
Yeah.
ski harder. What's
Like,
wrong
go.
with you, fatty?
Go.
Move faster.
Yeah,
You would love that.
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Just difference in personalities.
Yeah,
Because some people would be like, I'm out.
yeah,
Like if they heard that.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's why I probably would never be able to train women, and I would never train women outside of Corinne.
Because they can't take your.
I'm just not nice, and I don't.
You
really
helped me with
care
an
to-
exercise that I didn't know what to do.
I know,
and you
but
were
you're
kind
like
to me.
You're like a mom of a friend.
Okay.
And so he doesn't really care that much about you.
Okay, that's okay.
Because if he did and you did it wrong, he would roll you
And I
away.
probably did do it wrong,
He
and
would
he's
roll
probably
you
sitting there
away,
like,
too.
oh
No,
my
no,
gosh.
you did it. It was fine.
I'm just kidding. Like, I'm just saying different types. And usually we lead the way we've been led.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. And so that comes from your leadership style.
Oh yeah.
Is that's the way you were led.
Yeah, my dad's like pretty critical on like the if we're gonna stick with the gym, like form before weight. If you don't have the form, you're not gonna progress as quickly as you can. Even if you can throw around a bunch of weight, you're gonna put yourself in a position that you're gonna hurt,
Right.
and then you're done.
Yeah. And so in life, because this is the other thing I just thought of. So in life, on things that you're not good at, are you okay being criticized on the things that you're not good at to motivate you?
You
So
can
that
ask Corinne.
helps you, huh?
You can ask Corinne.
But you know what I mean? Because this is a tendency people tend to have. They criticize what they're good at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm really good
100%.
at this, so I'm going to make you good at it too because I know it. But then on the things that we don't know, because you're dealing with somebody that doesn't know and they're not good at it. And so you're using a motivation style that you really don't want because they're not good at it. So you're using criticism to make them better. But back on these things that you're not good at, you
Yeah.
don't like that methodology.
I don't like it,
But it does move you somewhere.
but it does move me.
Oh, okay. No, that's good.
I do need to work on that. I would say Corinne's not the greatest at like the pokes and prods. She's a little too nice in her criticisms sometimes.
So you'd
'Cause
rather her just come out and say you're an idiot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because then at least I know I was an idiot.
Yeah.
Well, I'll know it, and then I'll have to go back and like think through the entire thing because I think I'm right all the time. That's a big problem of mine. Self-righteousness for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people struggle with on certain issues of thinking like, hey, yeah. because I think it's different. I think it coming from, there are certain people whose words can shred you. I don't care how strong you are, or there are certain people that if they say it, it cuts way deeper than if
Joe Schmo.
than somebody else says it. And I think knowing our influence into the lives of people and understanding how our words either cut or heal or improve, I think is a wisdom factor for all of us, because I don't think we always take that into account, of how, scripture is so clear, like the mouth, like what comes out of it, you don't get to take it back. We need to learn to bridle it. We need to learn. And I think part of that bridling is not like helping people, but I think certain people can, because I think the greatest part about the hardest part about leadership is knowing how to lead different people in different ways. Because there are just certain people that when you lead them, you can't have the same style because they're different people. And so the approach, like in coaching, right? When you're coaching a group of 50 kids on a football team, they're going to be kids that are going to respond to grabbing them by the helmet and slapping them upside the head and screaming, and they're going to be people that don't respond to that. But I think the tendency we have to do in leadership is I'm one way, like it or not, right? And I think we have to learn multiple different ways if we're going to lead well. I just think that's a wisdom factor long term, this was what motivated me. Somebody grabbed my helmet and did it. Yeah, I'm going to go bananas. Like I love that kind of stuff, but I learned that there are other people that don't. Like Ethan, Sarah's son. Like if you scream at him, I mean, he's out. Like if you, other kids, like, and I'm screaming, they're like, and they love it. So how do you do both? Like, how do you lead both? And how do you do that even when you have kids? Like, were your kids different that way, Jennifer? Like, were some of them like, you have to get on them, and some of them you just say a word and they melt? Yeah, I think that's, different anyway. And anyway, good leadership insight. I think that's cool to see how you're leading and how you're helping in those places in ways that we can learn to improve in those areas.
So let's kind of talk about faith a little bit. So if I remember in past conversations, you grew up in a church, correct?
Yep.
So you've always known who God was. So think about your journey and who has been someone who's been the most influential as you continue to walk that road towards Jesus.
Obviously, parents, mom and dad, always in church. My mom is pretty forthright in her faith and conversations. She loves to talk. She can talk to you for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours if you let her. Going to the grocery store was always fun with her because she knew everyone and she would talk to everyone. But like she was really good at building those relationships, and it goes back to sort of like what you say, like you can't have those faith conversations if you don't have relationships to begin with. So my mom in that way, my dad sort of in his later years, he's gotten softer and more open, and that's probably because of having grandkids. He doesn't have to make sure my brother, sister, and I aren't crazy people. So he's softened up in that regard.
How did you see? Because I just out of curiosity. So, one of the things we talk about a lot, and we never really give like examples of it, but from a spiritual leadership standpoint, how did it work with your mom and dad? Like when your dad being the spiritual leader and your mom being like, how did it work together? How did you see it?
So I don't remember my childhood at all.
Was that something we said last time?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
And it's not because I was like abused or
No,
whatever. I just say
Not
that
because you did
I just say
LSD
that
or-
because people are like, oh no.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so like just sort of like them setting a foundation of going to church. Then I went to Huntington University, not because it was my first choice, but because I had enough scholarship for it to be cheaper. Ended up working out really well. Met Corinne. And then I would say like Corinne has been the biggest one. Like sort of making faith your own in college. And then She knows just way more than me. And that's a little humbling to have a wife in this relationship where you're supposed to be the spiritual head that knows so much more about the Bible than you do.
So hold on one second. Let's
Yeah.
talk about two things. Talk about faith becoming your own in college.
Yeah.
What's that like?
Freshman year, like I was just like, F this, I'm out.
Okay.
And that was like, I don't know if it was a rebellious time, but it was like a very short rebellious time. Maybe like the first like quarter of freshman year.
And what brought you back to like, oh, I need to make this my own. I'm not going to rebel. Like, was there a moment or something happened?
No real moment. Just like there's an aimless wandering. There's no real direction. If you don't have like your faith, where does your direction come from?
Right.
Like it comes from the world, and the world is going to hell in a handbasket. So why sort of sit in that?
Yeah, I just didn't know if somebody was like, hey, Luke, time to wake up, come back. You just on your own decided, okay, this is aimless. This isn't working.
Yeah.
I'm going to get back.
Yeah, there's only so much. Like I would say most of the time I'm on like a 98% like happy go lucky level, and then the other 2% of the time I get sort of low and out, and then those times like ebb and flow. And then it was just a time where I was low and just wanted to not really care.
Yeah, so you
anymore.
guys get back on your journey, you and Corinne. So you get back on your faith journey. How did you and Corinne meet? Is there some like special story? Like you?
What's the? No, but what one?
No, this
You
is
had
yours.
multiple stories?
This
No, so it was I guess
was
the
it like
one.
love at first sight?
No. Thank you. Okay. So she played the piano, or the keypad,
the
whatever.
organ.
I don't know, something
The
in the
organ.
worship team at HU. And I was like looking up there, and I was just like taking in the whole team, and I was like, I'm super judgy. And
You
I
were
was
like judging the people up
oh
there?
yeah, I was like,
Like they can't
sort of
sing?
sort
or-
of attractive. Like,
Oh, no, you were looking for a wife.
I am a freshman
Yeah.
boy
So you are looking for a wife.
looking for ladies.
And so you're going across there and like,
And I was like,
she's
attractive,
a dog, she's somewhere in the middle.
not attractive. And then I got to Corinne. I was like, her nose is sort of big.
What?
And then I just
Don't
sort of
have
like,
a big nose.
she does.
No, she
She
does.
does.
She
Yes, she
does
does.
not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then so that was my first sort of like.
And then she started
Acknowledgement.
singing and you're like, I don't
No,
care
she
what her
didn't sing.
nose is.
She didn't sing. They didn't let her sing.
Oh.
Yeah. And then one day walking to the dining commons, I saw this super loud, obnoxious girl just jumping and like spinning and like running into her friends. And it was Corinne. And I was like, stay away from her.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like saw her
I
nose,
have
and I was
never
like,
heard Corinne described as super loud and obnoxious. Like I've never heard that before. Like
no,
is that a thing?
You're lying?
No, I really haven't.
Okay.
No, is that like a personality thing I don't know about Corinne?
I guess
Is she
so.
still super loud and like
And
that?
in the right crowds.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. I
Okay,
would have
so
never.
you said stay away from her. So
Stay away
then
from
how
her.
did you?
My friends and I were gonna go on a spring break trip, and then Brandy, who was in our group, knew of Corinne, and said, or asked Corinne if she wanted to go to this first spring break group, and she was in the chemistry lab next to mine. They're connected through a door. And she comes over to introduce Corinne to me because she's potentially going to go on this trip. And was I listening to Taylor Swift?
And dancing to Taylor Swift.
Oh, I was listening to Taylor Swift and dancing to Taylor Swift in my organic chemistry lab.
Wow.
Yeah,
Taylor Swift.
T Swift.
Okay.
Yeah,
Another surprise.
shocking, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, she met me then, and, like, she got incorporated into our friend group a little bit. She didn't go on that spring break trip because her boyfriend at the time was intimidated by me and was worried that I was going to steal her away.
Whoa. There was
Yeah.
another boyfriend?
Yeah.
Wow.
He has shin tattoos. I can't believe it. It like blows my mind. An oddity to me, but
Okay.
whatever.
Okay, so you still haven't told us how you really like got together. So
We
this is a long story.
sorry, this is
No,
it's,
so you
it's
broke
incremental.
up the shin tattoo guy and Corinne?
Well, he didn't have shin tattoos yet. I just think it's funny that he
Oh.
now
He does
has
now.
shin
Oh,
tattoos.
got it. So you still see him?
No,
Oh.
I just heard that he had shin tattoos.
Oh, got it.
So it's comical to me.
Okay.
But we went swing dancing as a group, and I
You went
did not
who?
swing dancing. So like, is it Eastern, West Coast swing, where you like spin? It's not like the line dancing. Yeah, in indie, and I needed a partner, and so she was my partner, and it was like the most fun thing I'd ever done.
Was it like pre-set up or just like how did you pick
I mean,
her
like,
out of the... Was she still dating Shin Man?
No, she wasn't dating Shin Man at that
Okay.
time, but I think I was talking to another girl at that point, right? Audra or Caitlin, I don't know, whatever.
Oh my gosh, you got
There's
around.
two of them?
Maybe. Audra was an interesting one. I wouldn't even count that one.
So
but
you go on a swinger.
go on a
thing.
date.
Not a swinger.
Go on a date.
It's a
I mean-
swing
No,
dancing.
it's
Swing dance.
swing dance.
Okay, a swing. I wasn't thinking of that swinger thing.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure
Okay.
you're like know what you're talking about.
Okay, swing
No,
dance.
no upside down pineapple. here.
Why you were dating somebody else?
She no.
You were dating somebody else.
No, he was talking to someone else.
Oh yeah,
Talking.
that's a huge difference.
Difference, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so then it was we're together.
Oh, it was like
After the swing?
I was like, I'm sold. Like I will,
what
I will
what
marry
sold
this
you
woman.
on Corinne from being the obnoxious
So
no
I-
way to
She was allowing me to be sort of more open and how I would like to be outwardly. Like
meaning
I would,
you're reserved normally?
yeah,
Huh.
yeah. I would like to be more outgoing and willing to act a fool, because like even now I love my nephews. My nephews are like a huge part of our lives and what I would like to be the future as well. Like I want to build into them. I want to have the most fun with them. I still like even playing with them. Like if I'm acting like odd, like I feel like, oh, are people gonna think I'm weird? Like you're having fun with like a couple of little kids, and you're worried that you're going to look like a fool.
Is that something you've always had? Like you worry
Always.
what people think about you?
Always,
Really?
100%
Today, you worry about what people think about
Yes. Do I hide it well?
you. I wouldn't have thought that. Like I wouldn't think that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that like you would have. Nor would I think you would have a cut loose side. I think you're kind of you seem like a very straight laced, do things in a very methodical manner, and not.
I would like to have the cut loose, and like that was the time when we were dancing. Like I was able to.
So what keeps
more
you from
so
it
cut
today?
loose.
Like what keeps you from just being free? Like just.
Being worried what other people think. Yeah. Pretty simple, but I guess in my life hard to get over.
Yeah. No, I just.
Yeah.
Yeah, wondered what was that. So do you have a huge proposal thing? Was it special? Like was.
Our first date was with bananas.
First date we went as bananas to a Blades of Love event. We went roller skating. And so we
Wow.
would
As
rollerblade past people and yell potassium. A lot of fun. And then for my birthday one year, She asked what I wanted to do, and I said, I want to go to a restaurant and dress up. She didn't realize that I meant like in costumes. So I went as a lobster, and she went as a slice of bacon. We went to Red Robin, and then we walked around the mall afterwards, and little kids wanted to get pictures with us.
These sides of both of you, I would just never have
right.
thought that this would ever be you guys.
I have photo evidence.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
So did you dress up like bacon to get married? Like for the
No.
for
No. So we went down to Indy. We stopped at a park, and I had to find an excuse to get down on one knee. So like those little twirly guys from the trees, I was like, oh, there are a lot of these on the ground, and I got down and proposed.
Okay.
And then wedding was normal. She was in a white dress. I was in a tux. Like,
Okay.
there was nothing crazy there.
So can you speak to the what I think a lot of guys struggle with? So can you lead your wife when she knows more about scripture than you do?
I had just talked with her about this. So in our small group, or in my small group, 3 of the guys have wives that are in another small group, and we would sort of agree that like 2 of them, Sarah and Corinne, are in leadership positions in the church. So an assumption that they know the Bible really well. They're well formed in their thoughts on faith. And Ashton, who his wife Maddie sort of like brought him back, had asked the question like, how do you get over the fact that your wife is like more knowledgeable or like more capable to fill that leadership role?
And you're basing that capability off of
Knowledge and understanding.
okay.
And like, so be it. I would like to know more. I'd like to be wise on what the Bible has to say. But all of our answers were pretty similar, that like there are some fundamental things that men can provide that women may not be as inclined to have available to them. And like, I guess like a sturdy foundation, right, is what you would say?
Yeah.
Cool. So like Corinne, she would like to say that she is not emotional and very like to the book, dotting I's, crossing T's, but like she is definitely more emotional, so she needs someone to provide support in those instances when maybe she reacted in a proper way, but she still needs like someone to hear her out, or maybe she reacted in an improper way and needs someone to hear her out and then move in a different direction afterwards.
And so the idea that, you know, because this is a dilemma for a lot of guys, right? A lot of guys would say, hey, my wife is more prepared to lead than I would, right? So I would always ask the question of then, so if scripture says that he will reveal wisdom to you as you need it, then how is it possible that you're not prepared to lead and that your wife is prepared more? That's my question to men all the time. Like, because if he says that, does it just mean we're not asking, or we don't care, or it's easier for them to lead, or
I think it's easier for guys to just like shirk the responsibility.
to just let them lead?
Yeah. Super easy. I need Corinne to schedule things for me, or else they never actually happen. So it's nice that she does that, like lead in that way. Like if things were set in place and all I had to do was go and check the box, it'd be so easy.
Right.
It'd be great. And I think a lot of guys are in that camp. Like it's made almost far too easy for them whenever their wives or their girlfriends or fiancés take control and set the groundwork for them when they should be taking that responsibility and moving forward.
Yeah, because I think marriage in general, like in terminology of what we're talking about, is so if Corinne's better at scheduling things, then that's part of the whole thing. Is so that's not leadership though. That's your leadership would say, I recognize what my wife's good at, and I position her to excel in what she's good at, and I position our family in a place that, and we, like that's part of leadership is just not that you give away. Like, it doesn't mean you're not leading if you recognize that Corinne is good at something and you say, go ahead and do that. That's why I think there's this dilemma. So what is spiritual leadership when it comes to, like, when you're having this question, what is spiritual leadership of a man? Because again, we can delegate things to our wives because they're super good at it and we're not. But what does actual spiritual leadership of a man in his home, laying the foundation, like what does that look like in your mind? So when you say shirking responsibilities, what are we shirking?
Are we pursuing our relationship with God? Are we pursuing individually and then together? And then, like the last podcast, we had a devotional that we were going to do, and immediately, like, I was just like, skip days. So, like, in that regard, like, I'm not holding her accountable. I'm not holding myself accountable in our pursuit of God. So I would say that I'm shirking in my responsibility as the leader, spiritual leader.
Yeah, and you just think because it's easier to not.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that, I just think, though, like, to me, those things are surprising. Like, I'm surprised that a guy doesn't want to lead. That you would want to shirk that. Like, I'm surprised that guys wouldn't want to be like.
Did you have that modeled at home though? Did you see your dad leading your mom?
Again, like, I don't remember.
Yeah, well, you probably did it, and so you don't know what that looks like.
Like, I remember seeing my dad love my mom well, and in some instances, like, not so well, but the memory of loving my mom well, like, stands out the most. In that regard, like, that's all I can really pull from my childhood. And that church is important, community is important, and yeah, maybe not the best example, because there's still I'm just saying, like, because there's still growth. There's always going to be growth. But
Yeah, I don't think it's cookie. This is the thing that I think gets
I would
missed.
love it to be cookie cutter.
I don't think it's cookie cutter. Like, I don't think the man's responsibility is to make the wife into them, which is somewhat of what we look at leadership, right? So you're never on time. I'm going to make you on time. You're never good with money. I'm going to make you good. Like, this is leadership, right? So I'm going to make you good with money. You're never good at keeping deadlines. So you're going to keep deadlines. You're never good at, like, I think we look at it as a cookie cutter model of saying, like, if you're not good at these things that I'm good at, I'm going to make you good at it because that's my job as a leader. Where I am, from a leadership standpoint, I think it's my job, and I think I've tried to do this over the course of the years, is so get to know you in a way to make you the best version of what God's created you to be. And so you might never be great at certain things, but that's okay because that's not how God made you. And I think that was a huge adjustment for me, because that's never what I was taught. What I was taught is leaders are, you're not good at it, I'm going to make you better at it, and I'm going to gauge my success on whether you're not late anymore. Or I'm going to gauge success on whether you do things the way I think you should do them, right? So I'm a leader if you listen to me. That's how I would gauge. And I think men, you don't think? Not for you, but in general. Do you think that's how men gauge their leadership, of whether their wife is?
I mean, if you're talking about the church maybe like 40 years ago. But
you don't think that's the case today? You don't think men look at their job of leadership?
I don't think men, like, there's a pandemic plaguing men of depression, suicide, all this type of trash. They don't have direction. And if they don't have a direction, how are they going to implement that onto somebody else? Like,
Oh, so you don't even think they're thinking about leadership?
Not at all. They're not trying to make their wives into them, because they don't even know like what they are.
Wow, that's even more surprising. Like I would have thought that at least they're trying, but maybe just trying in a wrong way. And you would say they're not trying.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're getting at the end. So just let's use your wisdom now for a second. So if that is the case, if that's plaguing, because maybe that is true and I just don't know it as much. I thought, again, maybe what's plaguing us, we have no idea what we're doing. But what you're saying what's plaguing us is some other factors that are keeping men from even being men at all. So if you were going to give suggestions to, one, women that are in the lives of men, how can they help them? Like, what's the best way to help a man get to the place that he needs to be? Because that's part of it, right? Part of it is having a good helper, to help you get to that place. And as a man, what should we be doing different so we're not falling into those traps?
Find purpose.
Okay.
Like, so where are you going to be the most useful? I don't think people even give like that a thought. Like they're just wandering around.
So just pick something.
Pick something.
Okay.
Pick something, be good at it.
Okay.
And then like you've accomplished that goal. So you've just proven to yourself that you can do something. You are capable. And like, so move to next goal.
Right. So pick something on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you were going to give suggestions to either girlfriends or wives on how to help men, what would you say?
Don't micromanage them on the things that they pick, because it's just going to make them not want to do it.
Micromanage them, meaning like, hey, did you do this? Did you do that?
Yeah.
Are you working on this? Are you working
Yeah.
on that? Because you think it turns them the other way?
Yeah.
So
I've done that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you think holding them
If
accountable is a bad thing?
No. I
Okay.
think there's a difference between, this sounds bad, difference between nagging and holding accountable.
Okay. What's the difference? Because I think you're right. So let's talk about it. What is the difference between nagging and accountability?
So if you are holding someone accountable, you aren't responsible for that outcome.
Okay.
Like you can't force that outcome to actually come to be. Like
Okay.
it's on them. If you're nagging them, you're sitting there breathing down their neck until like you get the outcome that you want. That's not the outcome that husband
Okay, so
wanted.
now I love this. So let's use this as an example. So you pick something. I want to be better at, okay? So you tell your wife, like, hey, I want to be better at these things, and what I need from you is to hold me accountable.
Yeah.
Okay, so pick something. Just hypothetical.
I need to get the cabinets leveled. So please hold
I
me
think
accountable.
that's a real life thing right now, maybe.
So
No, I mean pick something that's ongoing. Like you were talking about earlier, your spiritual journey, like reading the Bible more, or like
yeah, so like having our phones with us whenever we're in our bedroom.
okay.
Like we look at our phones more than we look at each other. Like
Okay.
I
So you
think
say
that
you
that's
would say to
sort of
Corinne, like,
outrageous.
hey, I don't want my phone to be a distraction.
Yeah.
Okay, so accountability would be, so then when you do and it is a distraction, should she say something to you?
Yeah.
So
Like,
that's not nagging.
no.
But what if you do it the next night and she says something again? Is then it become nagging?
No.
Okay. So what is nagging then?
It's the poking and prods. So like any time. So like it's remember this. Like remember you didn't do this. Like hey, are you going to do this again? Or Are you like actually aware of the happenstance like last night? Did you remember? It's like the constant reminding of like, maybe you failed. Like, hey, you failed. Hey, remember this. You didn't do this. Hey, you failed.
And do you
didn't do
feel
this.
like, so in talking to guys, so do you feel like if there was an offset of you did all of these things well, but here are a couple things that you need to remember, that would go better?
It depends on the person. It's the same thing. Like your guys on the football team, like the ones that you scream at and they're like, I'm good to go. And the others that you scream at and they're like, see
Yeah,
ya.
see, I think this is this one I think is universal. I don't
Universal?
Think, I think there's a universal
That you have.
principle.
I don't like compliments. I don't like to hear about the things that I did. So like early on in our marriage, I was making a lot of our meals, like 95%. And like I didn't really want to hear about like, oh, thank you for making this meal. I just did it
Right,
because
but
I
that's
knew
a
that it
love
was
language.
required.
So that's words of affirmation. I'm saying this. There's a foundational principle inside of every man that wants the person that he loves to be proud of him. Not in an individual, thank you for making a meal. Like, that's not it. For every man, there is a desire to be the king.
Respect.
And again, this affirmation that your wife, the one you love the most, is proud of you. So it's not, I think that's universal. So I think what's universal is we want our wives to be proud of us. And it doesn't mean that they say thank you for everything, because my love language is for sure not words of affirmation. Like, that is not at all. But knowing that the person that I love the most is proud of me, and it doesn't even have to be through individual statements, but based upon a generality of how she treats me, shows that she's proud of me and what I've done. It's way easier than to say, okay, and I need to remind you to pick up the trash or pick up the laundry, or it's way easier to accept some of those things, because when I don't feel my wife is proud of me and she's nagging me, like, that goes downhill really fast. So I think universally, if there's a sense of like, we can take constructive criticism way better if we think our wives are proud of us. I think that's universal.
Yeah, if it comes out of a place of like love and respect rather than like degradation. Like, because if your wife isn't proud of you, is she going to try to tear you down? Like, honestly try to tear you down, or is she trying to like make you better?
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
if she is proud, it goes together. A wife that is proud of her husband and sees her husband or boyfriend, whatever, for what God has created them being the good things, then she will approach the bad things in a different way. You know what I mean? Compared to of like, God, I got to get this guy together. He's a total piece of crap, and I like him, but Judas, he's terrible, right? And I have to make him better. I think that's different, in those things. Okay, words of wisdom to young men. Last parting words of wisdom to young men.
Get in the gym.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, there you go.
So.
Okay, anything else, Jennifer,
Nope,
that you had on your list to take care
we're
of?
good.
So again, Luke, thanks for coming on. Thanks for sharing. Excited. We'll be praying for your fitness journey that leads to relationships, because obviously God is using you, and we're going to pray that He continues to use you, in those ways, and be able to continue to build relationships with, especially young men, right? That you can pour into and help them become, the person that God's created them to be. And does Foundations go on for, like, is it an all-year
It was
thing?
supposed to end last week, but I'll probably continue it.
Okay.
It's Wednesdays at 5
So if
to
somebody
6.
wants to get involved, what do they do?
Show up at Champs.
It
And
just
then
means
I'll
come at
add
5?
you. Come at 5.
Oh, so you don't have to sign up to anything?
No, I'll have you scan the Life Church app, and you can join our group.
Okay. And will it
about
just
it.
happen like once a year, twice a year, or are you just going to continue it on for as long as you got people coming?
I'll probably continue it on for maybe I'll take 2 weeks off here and there, but
But you'll continue that whole idea.
yeah.
Okay, so if you're watching or listening and you want to get involved into foundations, just show up Wednesday at 5.
Wednesday at 5.
And you'll be there to help walk them through the process.
Yeah.
And they can come and go, like once they sign up. Is it something like,
You don't have to show up every Wednesday.
Yeah, but I mean-
you're just coming to work out with a group of guys.
Right.
That's it.
right, and no girls allowed?
No.
Yeah.
Well, there might be girls in the gym. I've
There
been here
would
before.
be girls in the gym.
No, I
but
know, but not foundations is a guy thing. I didn't
Yeah.
know this. I'm asking.
Yeah.
Foundations is a guy
Guys,
thing.
just
so,
guys.
So if you're a guy out there and you want to get involved in
Yeah.
foundations,
And you can it's for any level whatsoever, like
any level of fitness,
any level. It can all be modified.
okay, and you help them with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so if somebody comes and they're new, like you'll walk them through those journeys of
Yeah.
helping them modify lifts and
Yeah.
modify a workout to be able to do it that way.
Yep.
Yeah, good. All right, so when this comes out, make sure that you like, share, comment. We'd love for you to. Oh, was that like a raise your hand you had? Sorry.
No, I think it was like
I
the
saw that
clapper,
up there and I'm
right?
like, wait a second, is that a raise your hand?
I was getting ready to clap.
Oh, okay. So like, share, or comment. And again, second service, first service, Luke's always around. So
Yep.
yeah, make sure that you come up and say hi. And if you have any questions of how to be able to get involved, you can see them on a Sunday morning and be able to even come up and maybe talk to them about, their journey and what they want to do from a fitness standpoint and get plugged in or get involved that way. So again, thanks everybody for joining us and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.